Hello everybody, welcome back to It's Current Year for another quick battle ladder replay. Again, highlighting the master Moulder of Clan Moulder himself, Rat the Unclean. So, obviously been playing quite a few games with him. Following on from my my report from yesterday, or my commentary from yesterday, this is another, just another sort of synergy that I like, Rat, that I mentioned, with an existing unit on the roster. So we'll check out the armies first and then we'll get sort of into the battle. So for my opponent, is playing the vampire counts, 2 units of blood dragons, blood knights over here, and a blood dragon vampire lord, helm of discord. Looks like he is taking raised dead, invocation, and the dance kebab. Also taking the sword of anti-hero. So he's invested heavily in his lord there, but we all know what a world beater the blood dragon vampire lord is. So front line of zombies, also the tithe. Cool to see. We have 2 units of skeleton spearmen, as well as graveguard with great weapons and some sternsmen. We have a mortis engine, which is a fantastic unit for just draining down infantry. Causes the Skaven a lot of problems, actually, because just the constant drip of damage on the infantry combined with the terror. 2 white kings, both who have taken scab scrath. Great in this matchup. They butcher regular infantry, and their scab scrath breath weapons are pretty good at clearing out large blobs. So for my own force, as you can see here, I've gone pretty wide, nearly 1,500 on the map. So Skaven slaves in the front line. I had about 200 gold left over and pumped silver chevrons into these guys because my opponent read it up, if I recall, quite quickly, and I didn't have time to had to scramble with my list. But I've also taken 3 units of clan rat spears, 3 units of storm vermin, one of which is the council guard. So there's a very, very, as you can see here, big concentration on anti-large, because that's where a lot of the vampire counts threats are. 2 units of warp grinders, which are great for pinning down blood knights, great for patrolling the back. I think these are one of the most underrated units in the Skaven roster, just for allowing you to control your backline, whilst or pin things in place to get pretty good alpha strikes. 4 units of Rat Ogres. I've taken the Pit Fighters of Helldeep as well, and we have Rat the Unclean here, who's taken all his goodies. The Remolded ability, which is great for the burst heal, as well as the creature catcher and the beast pack rat summon. So we'll put it on a play and see how we go here. I see obviously big concentration of power on this flank, so I obviously know sort of these guys are going to work their way down. I mean, Blood Knights will chew through, obviously with their anti-large, they will kill Rat Ogres very, very quickly. If there is one thing that Blood Knights lack, it's armor piercing, but as we know, Rat Ogres, 30 armor, not really significant. But just with their general stats and their charge bonus, they will kill through infantry as well. They're going to have to watch out for the Storm Vermin. I also have the Warp Grinders here, just in readiness. I'm happy for him to sort of expend a charge on the Skaven slaves. I'm not going to overcommit to that, but now that I see both committing and the dragon here, I'm just going to get into position early. Obviously, I realize, my infantry over here can hold out long enough. This is where the money is at. Look at the value here. That's probably close to 6,000 gold there amongst those 3 units. In fact, it's well and truly over 6,000 gold with the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord as well. So basically, that's half his army right there. A zombie summon going down, or skeleton summon actually, to pin the Storm Vermin in place. And now I see my chance. The Warp Grinders are going to pivot around the flank here to try and pin these guys in place, as the Van Hell's Dance Macabre goes down, buffing the stats on these guys. And we do have the Warp Quake as well as the Seismic Stare coming in. I'm doubling up. I'm really doubling down on this with my other Warp Grinder. Once this one's off cooldown, I'm going to pop this one as well, because I realize pretty quickly here, if I get some value here, Throt's making his way over to try and impart the anti-large with his creature killer, and we see another one going down. So massive damage going down on these Blood Knights. Unfortunately, the Blood Dragon does get up into the air, but at the very least, we've wasted that summon of these sort of anti-heroes. So over here, obviously, You know, Sturdsmen are going to just beat clan rats and slaves for days, but I'm just holding these guys back. They can chew through this methodically. I'm obviously very much concerned with the micro over here. I have popped the summon. I did try and pop it back here for this reason exactly, to stop the Blood Knights from being able to flee. But unfortunately, they are going to get out, and they're probably going to get invocation at a sec. Nice little dodge though from Throt, dodging that breath attack, but we do sort of overextend a little bit here. At the very least, these are very beaten up Blood Knights. My Storm Vermin here have rallied, but are just sort of sitting out at the moment. But we are going to, at the very least here, be able to gang up on this Mortis engine, and Mortis engines are more effective against high model count units. They don't affect Rat Ogres, single entities quite as well with their damage over time effect. And again, I'm just plugging the holes as I see fit. You know, over here we've got zombies and skeletons, so I'm just holding them out there with Skaven slaves. They can fight them, and we, as you see here, have snared the Mortis engine in place, and just with the amount of DPS on offer here from the Rat Ogres, that is going to go down. It's pinned in by the mass, has nowhere to go. I'm pivoting over here with a full health unit of Storm Vermin, whilst the Council Guard here hold the line. Council Guard, they're not going to cut through Sternsmen or Graveguard very quickly, but they have good defensive stats at the very least, and they're unbreakable, so they won't they'll stay in the fight, and they'll hold them back to not allow him to reinforce this fight. So as we see there, the Mortis engine has gone down, the tide, the crumbling, and these Blood Knights are pretty much on their last legs. 2 unit models here, 12 unit models there. They're on the run from clan rats, which is a great result for me. That unit crumbles out of existence, and we still have a really, really healthy pocket of Blood Knights, Rat Ogres rather here. I think one of them has been broken off, but they're back in the fight. Invocation will... with 10 unit models left, actually, that invocation is probably going to be pretty good value on that Blood Knight. They might actually even, now that the Rat Ogres have fled, they may even actually regain some models. And again, I'm just holding my Storm Vermin out here. I don't need to commit them to the fight. The Blood Dragon out here is shooing off Skaven Slave Spears, which I'm more than happy with, because it allows me to basically just gang up here and goon this unit of Graveguard down with Rat Ogres. They don't get to make the most of their anti-infantry bonus there against my Storm Vermin, which will retreat from that fight. And obviously the armor piercing is more or less wasted on the Rat Ogres as well. So like I said, I mean, this Blood Knight unit has regained some HP. They're back up to 1,000, but they're not really a factor at this point. If he gets another couple of invocations down, then maybe. But on the way back to the fight, trusty unit of Warp Grinders here, and another unit of Warp Grinders here. I'm making sure just to babysit this. Soon as that Blood Dragon comes down, both those Seismic Snare and Warp Quake are off cooldown here, and I'm just hoping that despite the Helm of Discord going down, that they can just hold in the fight. It's not looking good at the moment. I think the Terror might actually get them off, and the Helm of Discord's probably just being pretty annoying here. Unfortunately, great timing from my opponent. He goes down for an Alpha Strike on Throt the Unclean, right as my Warp Grinders manage to be terrified and routed off. But lo and behold, these unit of Warp Grinders are in the fight, and a Warp Quake and a Seismic Snare have been popped right as I pop the Creature Killer. So this Blood Dragon Vampire Lord is in an absolute world of hurt at the moment. 500 damage there, been taken off. The mass is pinning them in. I'm peeling off a unit of Skaven Slave or Clan Rat Spears here, just to offer whatever I can in this fight to try and work them down. We see some Scab Scrats going off here to try and clear the infantry, but again, those Council Guard have just held and held and held. And despite the zombie summon going down here, this Blood Dragon Lord, I mean, Creature Killer is still active. It lasts a long time as well, and as significant as the bonus first large is there, the immune to psychology to keep these Rat Ogres from terror routing has been pretty significant as well. And this, again, these Warp Grinders that were terrified earlier have come back. They were off cooldown from the first terror rout. This Blood Dragon Vampire Lord is out for the count. He is going to die. Throt the Unclean is going to destroy his nemesis here on the Blood Dragon, and with only the White Kings here, we see the Council Guard have just bossed this fight. They've just held out the Sternsmen and both the White Kings here. but with the Blood Dragon going down, with a pretty healthy Throt the Unclean, the remnants of the vampire counts will crumble out of existence. So, like I mentioned in yesterday's battle, the Warp Grinders, I just love these units. There's rarely any real time where I don't bring them. I just think they offer you so much versatility. They force your opponent to second guess their own micro and their own ability to alpha strike. You have to make sure that they don't get isolated, because their stats are garbage. All their value lies in their Warp Quake and their Seismic Snare. But we saw just the amount of value I got from snaring the Blood Knights, snaring the Vampire Lord, and then layering that with the Creature Catcher from Throt the Unclean. And that is an ability, like I said, that lasts a really, really decent amount of time. So the anti-large there just is, snowballs there out of control. And, that Vampire Lord was, I think it had close to 3,000, I think it had over 3,000 HP when it landed. It got 2 snares, it got a Creature Catcher, and that was it for him. He just didn't have didn't have it in him to stand up to that. So, like I said, I'm enjoying Throt. I think he's pretty good. I think he's got a lot of good plays. Certainly, obviously, as the meta sort of comes to terms with him, I'm sure there'll be the balance will swing back against him at some stage. But I'm enjoying him at the moment. I think he really offers something to the Skaven list. So another way to use him here, obviously with the byplay from the Warp Grinders. Warp Grinders obviously been really effective against armies like the Vampire Counts, where the large threats there are going to do the majority of the damage. So probably you get good. You could also use this strat easily, I'd say, against factions like Norska, Lizardmen, those kind of monster factions that rely on their single entities and their big monsters for their damage output. So thanks for checking it out. There'll be some Wood Elf content coming up in the coming days as well, so stick around for that. Until then, take care.